Welcome to a battlefield of minds. Two grandmasters face off where every move cuts like a sword. One mistake, and it's over. This isn't just chess. It's war disguised as strategy. Let's dive in, move by move, into this epic clash. Wesley So plays d4, pushing the queen pawn forward to claim central space and immediately set a serious strategic tone. Hikaru Nakamura responds nf6, developing the knight while keeping flexible control over key central squares. Wesley So advances c4, reinforcing the center and expanding queenside influence with classical confidence. Hikaru Nakamura answers e6, constructing a solid pawn structure and preparing central confrontation. Wesley So develops nf3, supporting the center and accelerating kingside coordination. Hikaru Nakamura strikes d5, directly challenging white's central setup and locking the pawn structure. Wesley So plays g3, clearly signaling a kingside fianchetto and long-term dark square pressure. Hikaru Nakamura develops b7, calmly preparing castling and maintaining flexibility. Wesley So fianchettos with bg2, activating the bishop as a long-range central observer. Hikaru Nakamura castles, securing the king and connecting the rook to future play. Wesley So castles, completing basic development and entering the main battle phase. Hikaru Nakamura captures dxec4, temporarily leaning a pawn and disturbing white's central structure. Wesley So jumps forward nf5, placing the knight aggressively to pressure black's center and kingside. Hikaru Nakamura responds nc6, developing while challenging the centralized knight directly. Wesley So plays nx6, exchanging knights to damage black's pawn structure intentionally. Hikaru Nakamura recaptures bs6 knights, accepting doubled pawns but opening the b-file for rook activity. Wesley So reroutes with na3, developing the knight toward queenside squares and future pressure points. Hikaru Nakamura captures bxr3, eliminating the knight and inflicting structural damage on white's queenside. Wesley So responds bxf3, recapturing the bishop and opening the b-file in return. Hikaru Nakamura develops b6, targeting central squares and increasing queenside pressure. Wesley So plays qd2, connecting rooks and preparing coordinated queenside play. Hikaru Nakamura places rebite, activating the rook on the open file and eyeing b2 pressure. Wesley So moves k5, actively pinning and pressuring black's queenside structure. Hikaru Nakamura retreats q8, a defensive regrouping to neutralize immediate threats. Wesley So advances f4, gaining space and restricting black's queenside pawn play. Hikaru Nakamura plays r8, centralizing the rook to contest the open file and prepare active defense in the center. Wesley So develops ba3, placing the bishop actively to pressure d6 squares and reinforce queenside control. Hikaru Nakamura captures rx4, boldly sacrificing rook activity to seize material and disrupt white's coordination. Wesley So answers RF bone, activating the rook toward the b file, and immediately targeting black's weakened queenside. Hikaru Nakamura retreats rb6, defending the b7 pawn, while keeping the rook as active as possible. Wesley So plays bc5, planting the bishop strongly to restrict black's central pawns and limit piece mobility. Hikaru Nakamura responds rd7, repositioning the rook to defend the 7th rank and stabilize the center. Wesley So plays r-don, bringing the rook from f1 to the open file to increase central pressure. Hikaru Nakamura chooses h6, creating luft for the king and avoiding future backrank tactical threats. Wesley So captures rsd7, exchanging rooks to weaken black's coordination and simplify into a favorable structure. Hikaru Nakamura recaptures nsd7, restoring material balance, but tying the knight to defensive duties. Wesley So strikes with bx-b6, the bishop from c5 capturing on b6 to shatter black's pawn structure. Hikaru Nakamura replies cx-b6, forced to recapture with the c-pawn and accept lasting queenside weaknesses. Wesley So repositions qd2a, centralizing the queen to support rooks and prepare endgame pressure. Hikaru Nakamura advances c5, pushing the pawn to seek counterplay and challenge white's central grip. Wesley So plays r-don, bringing the remaining rook onto the d-file to maintain firm central control. Hikaru Nakamura develops nf6, improving piece coordination and reinforcing key defensive squares. Wesley So steps kf-1a, moving the king toward the center and away from potential tactical checks. Hikaru Nakamura plays cat7, sidestepping checks and improving king's safety slightly. Wesley So gives check with qc2, forcing the black king to react and keeping the initiative. Hikaru Nakamura responds k-gate, retreating calmly while remaining under positional pressure. Wesley So plays qd2, maintaining queen activity and preparing the decisive exchange sequence. Hikaru Nakamura returns cat7, stuck in passive defense with little counterplay available. Wesley So plays qd8, offering a queen trade to transition into a clearly superior endgame. Hikaru Nakamura accepts qx-dite, exchanging queens as resistance in the middle game is no longer viable. Wesley So recaptures with rx-date, placing the rook deep on the 8th rank and seizing full control of the endgame. Hikaru Nakamura pushes c3, creating a dangerous passed pawn as a last attempt to generate counterplay. Wesley So plays k-1a, calmly centralizing the king and preparing to personally suppress black's remaining threats. Hikaru Nakamura develops bc4, activating the bishop to target the center and support the advanced pawn. Wesley So steps corner, improving king placement, while keeping the c3 pawn firmly in sight. Hikaru Nakamura captures bx-a2, grabbing a pawn on the flank but drifting further from central defense. Wesley So marches kc2, bringing the king forward confidently to confront black's queenside activity. Hikaru Nakamura returns bc4, redeploying the bishop to the long diagonal and guarding critical central squares. Wesley So plays e3, solidifying the center and opening lines for precise endgame coordination. Hikaru Nakamura advances b5, pushing queenside pawns in search of practical counterplay under pressure. Wesley So captures kxc3, the king eliminating the passed pawn and extinguishing black's final real hope. Hikaru Nakamura plays s6, a quiet pawn move that does little to change the bleak strategic outlook. Wesley So activates rate, placing the rook aggressively behind enemy pawns and tightening the endgame grip. Hikaru Nakamura checks with nd5, a tactical try to disturb white's coordination and gain tempo. Wesley So responds bxc5, calmly capturing the knight and erasing black's most active defender. Hikaru Nakamura recaptures x5, opening the e-file but worsening the pawn structure irreversibly. Wesley So pushes f5, fixing queenside pawns and creating a dangerous passed pawn of his own. Hikaru Nakamura checks b4e, a desperate pawn thrust aimed at distracting the centralized king. Wesley So steps kd2, remaining composed and keeping total control over the position. Hikaru Nakamura retreats bf1, placing the bishop on pure defense as the position collapses. Wesley So plays r-seat, activating the rook to dominate open files and restrict black's remaining pieces. Hikaru Nakamura advances c4, a final pawn push that fails to alter the inevitable outcome. Wesley So maneuvers rebite, precise rook play that seals the queenside and strangles black's position. Hikaru Nakamura pushes b3, a last pawn advance, signaling resignation in all but name. Wesley So finishes with kc3, centralizing the king completely and reaching a position where black's defeat is unavoidable. The video ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you again, everyone. See you in the next video.